Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It is 4th of July. Pew, 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 pew. Hope you guys are having a great day full of beer, fireworks, and all sorts of illegal and not admitting to activities. But today we're going to be talking about the future of filmmaking, folks. Below Bonghwa, this teaser trailer, AI generated, wild as shit. Also, Horizon Zero Gone. Is the show canceled? We're going to talk about that. Hollywood After Dark. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everyone? How y'all doing? Welcome back to Hollywood After Dark. It is 4th of July. Maybe I should have taken today off, but there's actually a fair amount to talk about, so I kind of want to get in before I have to go do my long, arduous job of driving people around Seattle, Washington. However, today is going to be a hell of a day to do it, I think, because there's going to be lots of fireworks. I'm going to be able to see them. And so, you know, I want to talk about fireworks in a little bit of an epiphany type situation. Okay, so recently I've been talking about doing the Real Adventures podcast, the random movie podcast. I've done one episode as a tester. I need to sit down and do more. I've been working on figuring out all the movies that I've seen. I just completed the 1990s last night. I started in 1990, ended in 1999, and over the course of that decade, I saw 792 movies that I largely feel comfortable talking about. There are a few that I know that I saw that would definitely push it over the 800 movie mark. However, the big problem is simply I don't remember enough about them. And so to talk about them, if it was randomized, would be a little bit odd. In this case, I can pull from a lot of it. There will be a couple that I'll probably have to go back and rewatch a trailer or reread a synopsis to kind of jog my memory, but I haven't even touched the 1980s, and I haven't even touched the 2000s. And I remember in the 2000s, I worked at a drive-in movie theater for 12 years. I went to film school, and I moved to Los Angeles. So I have seen a ton of movies. And when I get the list more ready to go, I'll be able to probably put them out more frequently, but I'm kind of debating if I should do it decade by decade. You know, if I should focus right now on just doing 79 episodes that are based around the movies from the 1990s, or if I should mix it up and do films from all over. So I am kind of curious your guys' thoughts on that one. Be sure to let me know in the comment section, or also head over to our Discord. You guys can pause the stream right here, go and take a snapshot, scan the QR code, or find the link in the video description, wherever you guys might be able to get this. But either way, be sure to join up the Discord and keep the conversation going after that. So I appreciate you guys and your support. Also, thank you all to the Hollywood After Dark Premium members. Those are the channel members who help keep the show afloat. And starting next week, you will be able to ask your questions. I just got distracted today because it's a holiday, so I wasn't able to put the question up there and whatnot. But I did, I did last night. I did finish watching the movie Frogman. So I've watched In a Violent Nature. I've watched Frogman. And tonight when I get home from work, I'm going to sit down and record those episodes. So look for those this weekend, probably tomorrow. Will at least be one of them. And of course, there's other movies I got to watch and talk about. But if you are looking to catch up on any of the Podio commentaries, you can find them here on the channel. As always, I do appreciate everyone who listens to all the dumb stuff I have to say. You guys are great. So why don't we dive into more of the dumb stuff? Because I know I'm going to catch crap for this. So this is the poster for the short, AIK short, Korean horror short film, Below Bonghwa. Now, this is a AI-generated short film. AI-generated short film teaser, whatever you want to call it. This has actually gone to a film festival in Korea. It blew up at this film festival in Korea, and a lot of people are talking about it, including people who work in apparently Korean film businesses and potentially even some nibbles here in the United States. As I keep saying, folks, this stuff is going to blow up. You may not like it all the way, but I want you guys to take a look at this teaser and let me know what you think, because I think it's pretty freaking cool. It definitely has some AI jankiness, but look at where we were a year ago versus where we are now, and with a little creativity and talent behind it, you can really accomplish almost anything.
무슨 일이야? 터널이 무너지고 있어요. 우리가 여기 얼마나 오랫동안 있었나요? 안녕하세요. 누구 있나요?
Crazy. Absolutely crazy that they did that with AI. Now, it wasn't just one AI program. We have to remember that this stuff is not just a one and done system. They used Runway, they used 11 Labs, they used Kling, they used Luma. There are a bunch of different tools and technologies that they used in order to compile this together. But it was put together and guided by a human hand who was able to then oversee its outcome and give us, quite frankly, something that looked really freaking cool. Like, really, really cool. It's really impressive how far things have gone or come in the last year. And it's only going to get more impressive as time goes on. And my reasoning for showcasing this is because this technology will be hitting Hollywood faster than you think. All right. It will be hitting Hollywood faster than you think, but that does not mean that handcrafted animation or handcrafted filmmaking and handcrafted stories are not going to continue to dominate. As evidenced by now, we have found out that Disney's Pixar's Inside Out 2 has now crossed the $1 billion mark. Or I think it's, what is it? Yeah, it's just over $1 billion. It is now surpassed Finding Dory, Toy Story 3, and Toy Story 4, making it one of the highest grossing animated films in history. In fact, the only other Pixar movie that has done as well financially is Incredibles 2, which was monstrous. This movie is blowing up. I have not had the chance to go see it. Everyone I've talked to who has seen it absolutely loves it. There's been a few detractors, a few naysayers on social media from what I've seen, but there's always going to be that, right? So not everyone's going to like everything, and that's perfectly fine. But people are clearly resonating with this movie at a time when they probably need to resonate with something that is all about understanding emotions, regulating emotions, coping with emotions, dealing with emotions, getting over emotions, learning to live with emotions. I mean, all of those things right now. Are you kidding me? That movie is probably exceptionally cathartic for a lot of people. All right, Amy Poehler's joy from the first movie was wildly infectious. Never mind, she committed 2 murders in that film. I don't know what her kill count is going to be for this one. No one's talked about that. Nobody wants to talk about Bing Bong. Okay, justice for damn Bing Bong. Okay, and for anyone, like, I'm just going to say, for anyone out there right now that's like, well, you know, like, he sacrificed himself. No, he fell in the pit because of her. He might have sacrificed himself, but he was already dying once he fell into the pit of the memory erasure. Okay, that was her fault. That was her hubris that got him killed. And they did. I'm hoping they honor Bing Bong in this movie. I really do. I really hope they honor Bing Bong. No one tell me, because I haven't seen the movie yet. So, but still, it's like and then there was a cloud guy. She ran right through the cloud guy. Then there was a Chinatown reference, but she still committed murder. It was a sentient cloud. Okay. It had a wife. It had a home. I'm sure it had a mortgage, probably grandchildren. And Joy just hit and run. She killed Bing Bong, hit and run a cloud. What else what other massacres is Joy going to do in Riley's brain? But either way, the movie is done quite well. The movie's done quite well, and I'm sure it's a wonderful, wonderful movie. I'm sure it's a wonderful, wonderful film. So speaking of like legacies, because this is kind of a legacy thing, right? Toy Story, the Pixar films, Inside Out, it's always a legacy. There's been another discussion about legacy and why it was kind of needed the way that it played out. So that is Mark Guggenheim, the co-creator and executive producer of Arrow, the guy, not Greg Berlanti, but the other guy behind Greg Berlanti, is now been kind of talking about this in an interview. And he actually was discussing the, as he says, the immense pressure to save the CW network as a whole, because that is effectively what the Arrowverse did. All right. Like, it was so important for the CW that it was keeping it alive. And the CW itself never turned a profit, if I recall correctly. It never turned a profit. But they did well with these shows on Netflix. They did well with these shows on Hulu when it was on there. They did well with home video sales. It actually was able to keep things afloat for a long period of time. Even Mark, it says Guggenheim revealed that Warner Brothers TV chairman Peter Roth emphasized the critical importance of Arrow's success for the network's survival. Roth detailed how the failure of Arrow would mean the end of the CW. And we know that the CW ended with a whimper, not with a bang. And even the same could be said for the Arrowverse. You know, the last real show, I think, was The Flash. Arrow ended. Legends of Tomorrow ended. Black Lightning was kind of unceremoniously canceled after only a couple seasons. Supergirl did last a couple seasons, you know. And the funny thing with Supergirl is actually when it was on CBS, it was one of the lower rated shows on CBS, but its viewership was higher than anything on the CW, giving you an idea of just how much the disparity was between live viewers on CW and the people who watch CBS. CBS is for old people. Old people were the main watchers of Big Bang Theory, not nerds, because nerds looked at that as being offensive because it was effectively nerd blackface. We know this. We absolutely know this. And it's been like a long running gag for a while. But that being said, when we think about the success of Arrow, good, bad, or the other, it really did do everything Marvel wanted to do just on the small screen. And Marvel's attempt to do the same thing, and by combining it with the big screen, which is something that DC didn't do, they've been having some problems. And so maybe that does showcase, to some extent, having the separate universes, not necessarily separate. You could still have some interweaving, but maybe you have your high bar stories, right? Your stories of consequence, your event films, theatrical, and then you've got your ground level stuff on television, and then have them only come into play at certain points in time. I've always kind of felt like that would be the best way to do it. I think people ultimately still want that, but I think Arrow showed, unfortunately, towards the end of the show that they just kind of ran out of ideas. And the biggest problem with that was, again, they were like 21, 22 episodes per season. There was a lot of filler. The Flash, I think, had one of the best first and second seasons of any show ever. The first season was amazing. I love the second season. Third season was, he had King Shark in the third season. Like, holy shit, right? That was amazing. You know, they did a bunch of great stuff with the Flash. And then the Flash kind of fell off when they started getting into the multiversal stuff. And I always feel like the multiversal stuff, it could be more easily explained on television than in movies. But that's still just kind of where we find ourselves. You know, people out there still want, they still want movies, I think. I don't know. I mean, if you talk about Horizon, the American Saga, the Kevin Costner, grand epic, right? Chapter 1 came out June 27th, chapter 2, August 15th. This is a long freaking movie, but this is from Kevin Costner. This is the man who understands Westerns. This is the Western guy, and yet, this movie hasn't been doing great, so much so that even Stephen King, the master of horror himself, actually came out to voice his displeasure with the negative reactions to the box office performance, saying here that it struggled against sequels like Inside Out 2 and A Quiet Place Day 1. Yeah, those are established franchises. Those are established sequels, earning only $11 million and barely surpassing Bad Boys Ride or Die for third place. It still came out third place, $11 million, up against two big movies, and it was sandwiched in between another big movie that was also the fourth entry in that franchise. So A Quiet Place Day 1 is the third entry in that franchise. Inside Out 2 is the sequel, obviously. Horizon: An American Saga Part 1 is a brand new IP, Old West type movie, not meant for those audiences largely. This is going to be a very good Peacock streaming movie, to be fair. But still, it's kind of crazy. Now, many on social media mocked its earnings, prompting King to condemn this schadenfreude, or taking pleasure in another's misfortune. King drew parallels to last year's The Marvels, where he similarly criticized those gloating over its poor performance, despite not being a fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He argued that celebrating the failure of original projects like Horizon discourages diversity in film, leading to a cinema landscape dominated by sequels and blockbusters. And if you look at the top 4. Inside Out 2, A Quiet Place Day 1, Horizon, then Bad Boys. Sequel, prequel, sequel. Original movie right in the, it's a sandwich, like it's the meat in the sequel sandwich, essentially. And that ain't great. That ain't, and it's not to say, look, I just watched, In a Violent Nature, which is a slow-paced horror movie from the perspective of a killer. It's not going to be an IP. It was like the third movie in the franchise. The way that they set it up is kind of interesting. And then I watched Frogman, which is a little point of view found footage horror movie that's not an IP. And I thought it was great. You can have original movies. You can have original ideas. You can have original things. The problem, though, is that in theaters, it's going to be very difficult to do unless you have a massive media machine behind it. Okay. Old people may not go see movies in theaters as much anymore. Okay. It's like if it was wintertime, Horizon would probably do better, but not the middle of the summer season. All right. It's got to be punchier. I hate to say it like that, but it's not, look, that's not the only thing that's having some controversy. This week, we are finding out that the Netflix super hit Under Paris was recently sued, actually, by a director named Vincent Dietze. If I'm saying that if I'm mispronouncing that, I apologize. Dietze, whatever. Now, he had his request to remove Under Paris thrown out in a lawsuit that he had filed, which he claims that he registered this idea back in 2011. The movie Under Paris, which features a giant shark terrorizing the River Seine and its catacombs, debuted on Netflix on June 5th and has become the most watched French language film on the platform with over 85 million views. Now, the director, Dietze, is suing the producers, Edouard Dupré and Sébastien Ausser, if I'm again mispronouncing that, my French is terrible, along with talent agent Laurent Gregory for parasitism. Alleging, that's an awesome term, by the way, parasitism. You have to love that. Alleging they used his idea without his permission. After he circulated it within the French film industry in 2014, the producers denied the accusations, stating they were unaware of the project until contacted by his lawyer last year, and they have countersuing for defamation. The court ruled that the takedown request was inadmissible because it was filed against Netflix's French arm, which does not control the platform's content. Instead, the Netherlands-based parent company, Netflix International BV, Dietze's lawyers criticized the decision, arguing that it undermines the independent, whatever, man, they're always going to argue that stuff. But we don't know, like, if he can prove, if he can provide the evidence that this idea, giant shark, jaws underneath the River Seine, okay, going underneath in the Paris catacombs and shit, that's an awesome, I need to watch this movie now, by the way. I saw the trailer for it. I really liked it. I need to watch it and I need to talk about it because that's what I need to spend more time doing is talking about movies that I watch, because you guys know I love talking about movies. And so I really, like, it's a cool concept, but it's also not something that like no one has ever thought of before, right? Like there's one movie, I forget the name of the film. It's a shark movie that takes place in a freaking convenience store. It gets flooded during like a hurricane or something, and a shark is in there. People are trying to survive. Okay, stuff like that's been done before. There's the 2019 movie Crawl, about an alligator in the crawl space underneath someone's Florida home during a hurricane. It gets washed in there. There's been tons of alligator movies over the years. That movie's awesome. By the way, it's great. I love it. But again, it's not something that hasn't been done before. We have to really get past this idea of that kind of originality being something that is going to end up getting, I don't know, like whatever. And I know people are going to be like, "Well, Matt, you know, you can't really. No, you got to understand. You folks got to understand this. When like these ideas, everyone's got different ideas, okay? And now with AI being a thing, with all of this stuff being a thing, we are going to see like a lot more probably derivative content, which is why, and as much as a proponent of using AI as like a writing partner, and I've been using it as a writing partner to help flesh out some of my ideas, it's not going to be what takes over the stories that I tell. Trust me, some of the stories I want to tell, one of the stories I want to tell, if done correctly, I guarantee you, I'm not even lying when I say this. It's so wild and it's so like thought-provoking and it's so interesting. And I know it sounds like I'm tooting my own horn here, but I could see this literally, if done correctly, winning an Academy Award for like best original screenplay, right? Or if the movie is good, winning an Academy Award for best film. Like that's how good of an idea it is. And those of you who have heard the idea before, I'm sure you would agree with me. I keep it close to my chest because it's a very touchy subject. It's a very touchy subject, and it has to be handled in a way that is going to be, you know, like not used. It's a tough one because it's such a crazy ass idea. And the ending, oh my God, the ending would leave you speechless walking out of the theater. Like that is how good the ending is. Like it's all cyclical, everything. Oh my God, I would love to tell you guys. I've been working on this for years. I've been having this idea, but it's one of those ones that like, it's just, I can't pull the trigger on. I wish I could, but I have other ideas I want to pull the trigger on and other ideas that I want to work on. And my view on where things are now is that like, again, you're going to have a lot of ideas that people are going to be making. Right. And I feel that like, we're at a place where it's not that originality is dead. It's what gets greenlit. That is what's going to be the most cost effective and most, how do I say it? Like the highest chance of earning money for the people that are making it. Right. But the way I view it now, the way I'm looking at it now is the most interesting stuff coming out of Hollywood are movies like In a Violent Nature, are movies like Frogman. Frogman is not anything new. It was just interesting. In a Violent Nature, totally new genre, you follow the perspective of a killer. And it's slower paced. It's a slow burn. It's got some wicked kills. It's got like an interesting backstory. It's got plot. It's got lore dumps. It's got great violence. You don't care about any of the characters surviving. So that's a cool thing, but you get like flashes of elements of like previous things that would have happened. And so there's lore there to expand upon, but it's a really cool idea. And I feel like right now people are, I don't want to say in desperate need of new ideas. I think people are in desperate need of comfort. I think that's more about where we are right now. And I think that's one of the reasons why Inside Out 2 is doing as well as it is. It's comfort food. Okay. Pixar is largely seen as comfort for people who grew up with Pixar. It is. It's like you have all these adults that are like, let's say me, right? I first saw Toy Story in 1995. I was 13. I am 42 now. Toy Story turns 30 years old next year. It is still a comfort movie for me. Wreck-It Ralph is a comfort movie for me. A lot of Disney animated movies are very much comfort food for me. If I'm feeling a certain kind of way, you know, much like movies or some TV shows will do that. Like we are in a space right now. And I know I'm not trying to go on like a political rant or anything like that. Like whatever your politics might be. We are in a very supercharged political environment. We are in a very supercharged, very combative environment right now. And we all just want a fucking escape, right? But think about it. Everything is terrible. Yesterday, Neil Gaiman, two accusations of sexual assault, okay? We're going to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn here in a second. How that showrunner has been accused of being basically like a piece of shit. Okay, like every actor we've liked for the most part. Like I read a thing last night, Anthony Starr, Homelander. I love Anthony Starr. Apparently, he's an abusive drunk, according to you know, to some of the stuff from crew members on the show. Like, he made Queen Maeve quit the show in season 3 because he was that much of a dick to her. You know what I mean? And so then all of these people, they just jump on all these rumors and all of these things. And it's like, we can't have nice things. Now, it's not to say that like people are dicks and we need to like not be aware of it. What I mean by that is like, why is it that it feels like bad people have good things happen to them and why good people have bad things happen to them? And we never really know the truth. Because you can never really trust the truth at all on social media, because how many people are lying? How many people are faking it? How many people are doing whatever, right? So we don't know. We're in this constant state of anxiety. Okay. Because we don't know where the next thing is going to come from. So what do? We turn to what we like. We love music. We love movies. We love TV. We love books. We love comics. We love video games, and everything is under attack from one side or the other. And it makes it crazy in so many ways to sit there and be like, yeah, I want to be in this world. I want to enjoy what I want to enjoy, but it makes it so hard when everything becomes part of the culture war. You know, and maybe that's one of the reasons why these nostalgic films are doing better on streaming services. Why people are wanting sequels to like Ghostbusters and Mad Max. I mean, you know, whatever, for whatever purpose. Because they want comfort. It doesn't require a lot for barrier for entry to get involved. You probably have already seen the other movies. You already know the characters, you know the world, you know the setting, and now you're just going to go on the next phase of the adventure. And you don't really have to think much about it. And I think people do that because I think it's some kind of just like self-medicating type of self-protection type situation from the world we live in. You know, one of the reasons why I thought about doing the real adventures thing is because I do want to think about all these movies that I've seen. I do want to talk about all these movies that I've seen. I want to go back to when I was a teenager, when I was a kid, when I was a young adult, where I was working. Most of these movies have got a very significant association to a different time period in my life. And a lot of them have very key influences on me. And that's what I'm talking about, is like, we go back because it's nice to kind of go back. And maybe that's the whole idea of why boomers want a boomer. You know what I mean? Because they want to go back. It is tough out there, folks. It is tough. And I'm sorry. I'm not trying to drag it down on the holiest of holies for this country's history. What I'm talking about though is just, we got to like fucking love what you love, man. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Like, try to get invested into shit, enjoy it, find friends who want to talk about it, get some buddies, get your kids, get your family, go to a movie, and then like, just, you know, enjoy the aesthetic of it and whatnot. Right. That's one of the things, like I was told once by a friend, like, not every movie you watch has to be content. And I'm like, that's true. But like, at the same time, that's how I express my love for these things. You know, I get excited talking about them. I get excited reading about them. I get excited to like dive into those worlds. You know, I love reading like a lot of the behind the scenes stuff because it's so cool, because movies are great. Movies are everything to so many people. And it's like that we should be celebrating it constantly. Right? Like, if you get something made and you get it out there, I mean, fuck, man, that's better than like 99% of people who make movies in many different capacities. But now we're at a place where anyone can make a movie and they can release it online and they can build up a following and they can then go on to make more movies. I think a lot of people who want to get into the industry need to temper their expectations. I don't even want to get in the industry anymore. I've been thinking about this, right? I don't even want to get in the industry anymore. I want to make point of view, found footage, thrillers, horrors, comedies, whatever, man, adventure movies, whatever. That's all I want to make. That's all I want to make. And I want to tell stories. I want to write the scripts, and then I just want to produce them in audio format. I just want to make a cool podcast for you guys to put on while you're driving, to listen to get engaged. And that's really all I want, just so we can have stories to talk about. Fuck the goddamn gatekeepers, man. You know what I mean? Like, fuck the gatekeepers. So let's talk about movies, but let's also, you know, explore storytelling, I think. Anyway, I am off my rant, folks. I apologize for that. That was a big one. Anyway, okay, let's get into the last story of the night here. So Netflix, apparently, according to Rolling Stone, has canceled the Horizon Zero Dawn television show because there were troubling allegations against the showrunner Steve Blackman, initially announced in 2022, by the way, so 2 years ago. The series was part of a wave of game adaptations sparked by the success of The Last of Us. Blackman, known for his work on the Umbrella Academy, was set to helm the project featuring the character Aloy battling robotic creatures. It's dinosaurs, battling robotic dinosaurs. It's a really good game. It's a good story. Rolling Stone reported on June 30th that Blackman is accused of toxic bullying, manipulative, and retaliatory behavior, creating a fear-driven work environment and making sexist, homophobic, and transphobic remarks. Blackman denies these claims, calling them entirely untrue, despite the allegations he had previously secured a $50 million deal with Netflix to develop new projects, including Horizon Zero Dawn and a new sci-fi show called Orbital. On July 3rd, Rolling Stone updated their report stating that both Horizon Zero Dawn and Orbital are no longer moving forward. A representative for Blackman mentioned he continues to work on new projects with Netflix, having signed a new multi-year deal earlier this year, but did not comment on the status of Horizon Zero Dawn, and Netflix themselves has also declined to comment. So what does this mean? Well, Sony and Netflix moved into this deal. They want to produce these shows. Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Forbidden West, and there's the VR one in there as well, are popular. The Last of Us is popular as a show. The Halo series, surprisingly, is chugging along, even though it's, I don't know, it's no one who likes Halo that I know of likes it. But will they find a new showrunner for Horizon? Most likely. Will they have to start over from zero again? Most likely, but it's still going to probably end up coming, right? They've invested money into it. They're not going to want to, they're not going to want to lose out on their investment because they've already done that a couple times and it's been big and it's been embarrassing and it's not something that they're into, but that's Netflix for you right now. Everyone's going through growing pains and it seems like a lot of people in Hollywood are just straight up bungholes. So there's that. Anyway, folks, I don't know what's going to go on today. All I know is that we are currently at the 4th of July. It's going to be a crazy, crazy, crazy weekend full of fun, fireworks, barbecues, explosions, hopefully safe explosions, and a lot of people out there enjoying what is going to be a massive heat wave. So why don't you guys, if you're hot, if you're home, why don't you head on out, right? Head on out. Go see a movie, get in that nice AC. Go see Horizon, an American Saga. It's a longer movie than anything else out right now, I think. Well, maybe Furiosa is still in theaters, even though that's on VOD as well. Watch something. Let me know what you guys think. As always, watch Real Adventures, the one I just put up there. I'll put up more. Obviously, there will be more Podio commentary. Like you can check out the one for Late Night with the Devil. I did one for I Saw the TV Glow. There's more I got to do. But really what I want you guys to do, if you guys can't support the channel becoming a channel member, I completely understand. But come and check us out on Discord. Let's grow it on Discord. Let's get it up there to be able to have good, solid conversations and to build a nice, fun fan community. You guys can scan this link or find it in the video description here on YouTube. If you're listening to this wherever you get your podcasts, again, I appreciate you. I will talk to you guys. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow, maybe the 5th, there will be some news we're talking about. If not, maybe Monday. It's all going to depend, right? I'm going to do it when I can. If there's stuff to talk about, then I'll definitely do it because that's what I do. And that's what I love. I love movies, despite where they come from. I love talking to you guys about movies and I love all this stuff, right? Because this is Hollywood After Dark. This isn't some subversive show that's just going to chill out for everything. That doesn't make any sense. That's an oxymoron, right? I'm me. I'm Matt Jarbo. I love talking movies. I love you guys. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have yourself a great day, everybody. Happy 4th of July. Peace out.